This is Three People on a Couch with me, your host, Amanda, Steve, and Brian. And today's guest is Jane Derryberry, which is, you have done so much. It's insane. It's insane. So, Jane, you're originally from Nashville, Tennessee, and you studied interior design and film. And then you moved to LA and became a set director and worked within events and animation as an animation producer. And you also launched your own sustainable clothing company.
That's correct.
And you have your own production company, Legendary Productions. And now you're in the start for your new brand in interior design. Welcome to the podcast. We're so happy to have you here.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is just going to be a Vine. We did hit the 7 seconds. Thank you.
I want to get that's quite the resume, but I want to get into something I was reading about you. You're a traveler. You love traveling, from what I gathered. I'm also a traveler. I spent 5 years in Asia. You did a motorbike trip, is that correct?
That is correct.
Can we jump into that? I'm very curious. Did you do that solo? Did you do it with friends? How did that?
And how did you get into it?
Yeah, have you always rode bikes? Like what?
Well, actually, growing up, I always had like a moped, like as a child, and so I've always loved motorcycles. I love cycling too. Bicycles, anything with two wheels gives me a ton of freedom. I can go, I can explore, which is like my favorite thing to do ever. Of course, I'm nomadic. I love traveling, and so bicycles. It started with a bicycle and then a moped, and then later in life, I really got into motorcycling. Like I had to buy a motorcycle, and I was really into vintage motorcycles. So I'd lived in LA for a while, and then I was visiting Nashville, and I was actually doing a photo shoot in Nashville, my hometown, with a photographer who was a motorcyclist. And she's like, hey, my friend's selling this vintage BMW. You have to buy it. And I was like, okay.
Okay, I'll do it.
Do you know what year it was?
It was 1976.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a very cool German-made bike with.
Wait, put the bike.
Oh yeah. Sorry. So I went and looked at it after our photo shoot, and I bought it on the spot. Not only did I buy it that day in Nashville, I also took off on a cross-country trip.
Whoa!
That day? That's insane.
Wait. Were you planning on doing that? Like, were you planning, or just sort of a spur of the moment? Like,
you're just like, I'm out.
It was totally unplanned. I was just like, fell in love with it. I felt the need to just like get it to California, and I didn't have a return to LA, like a flight to LA. So I was like, I bought the bike, I gave the guy cash, and I literally had no like motorcycle gear at all.
Oh no.
I had to go to buy a pair of like black denim. I went to the Army surplus store and pieced together like some crappy moto gear. I had no actual real gear on. And I just said I set out at sunset with my piece together.
At sunset?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I went up to Kentucky that day, and then I think I made it, I don't know, probably 100 plus miles first day.
That's really good.
Yeah,
but I
that's
did
insane.
do the cross country trip in like 7 or 8 days. It was
That's pretty
ridiculous. I
So
wish
you're doing what, like 10 to 15 hours a day on it?
at some days I think my longest day was like 14 hours.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get sore sitting on that?
Actually, the first day I got, because I had a pair of leather gloves, and they were like brand new leather gloves, I had this horrible like blister like on the palm of my hand. And so that kind of destroyed the rest of the ride. It was very intense. So it was a rough ride for sure. But the joke was that everybody I was meeting and passing through and getting to know, they're like, tell us more about your adventure. Tell us what your plan is. And I was like, I've got to get to LA. I've got to get to LA for a dentist appointment.
Dentists are important.
Dental coverage is cheaper. I have the California plan.
So, actually, I had to delay that dentist appointment because of
Damn it.
only because of breaking down so frequently. Vintage vehicles, and let me tell you something, I love vintage cars. I had 2 80Zs, Datsuns. I had 4 of them when I first moved to LA.
That's
like
insane.
I had a series of them, and I would break down on the 405 freeway, like 5 o'clock traffic, have to be towed. It's like the worst thing, but I don't know. I'm just a sucker for it. I just love it.
When you're in these cars, you feel the most alive. Is it just vintage cars, or you just love driving in general? You love the acceleration, the experience of just like flying through space. Like if you're in anyone's car, even like their passenger seat, are you just loving it? you know what I mean? Because if I did it cross, even driving a car, if I did it cross country, I know I would just be getting like so tired and sore. And I had a motorcycle, I had assless chaps, and my butt was getting just such a rash. I'm just kidding. But I'm just wondering, do you feel like your energy, it's almost amplified the more you are riding, or is it kind of like goes in and out and wanes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole point of, I love sports cars, and motorcycles are fast, and I love my hair blowing in the wind, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, it is a real rush. Absolutely.
It's such a rush being on a motorbike. I did Vietnam on motorbike from Saigon to Hanoi, and I always leave this part out. So I tried a Honda Win, which is the bike they used to use in like the 60s and 70s, which are all over. You can buy them for like $300. Didn't really fit on it. And what I did fit really well on was a moped. And so I drove a moped for a month across Vietnam with my 3 other friends who had motorcycles. And it was a fast moped, don't get me wrong. It went fast. We went like 90 kilometers at some points, like just gunning it down there. But you do these days where you're driving 14 hours and your mind just sort of goes somewhere else. Like it hurts, but you forget it hurts after a few hours, and you're just on the road and you're just going. I luckily didn't have any crashes at all. Did you crash at all, or
did you crash?
No,
surreal egg.
All my limbs are intact. Thankfully.
Yeah,
thank you guys.
That's great.
No crashes, but I almost crashed. I almost slid out, and it was a really bad move. I was in Utah somewhere. It was so hot. It was like 115 degrees because it was summer when I was traveling, and being under a helmet. I mean, I think Vietnam is pretty warm too.
Yeah.
And just, you don't have to wear a helmet in Vietnam.
You don't have to, but you want to.
Yeah.
You want to.
So you did.
Oh,
you
yeah.
were,
Oh, my God.
constant.
One of the guys you're with crashed into a mountain. And
What?
Yeah. He had to get airlifted back to England, basically. It's a whole story, but he was gunning it, and thank God he had his helmet on, because he went over, his bike skidded out, and he went right into the mountain. This was north of Hoi An. It was, we were all like scarred from that. I didn't drive very fast after that.
Yeah.
We learned our lesson. You also went to South America, right?
Yeah, I just kind of took off when I was in my early 20s to South America. Growing up in Tennessee, it's like
how was
lack
that?
of culture, in my opinion.
Very diverse in Tennessee,
Yeah,
right? Very diverse, yeah.
So I just took off on a trip to Costa Rica, actually. It was meant to be a 2-week vacation.
And then you just stayed?
And then I met a girl at the volcano, Arenal, and I don't know if you know Costa Rica, but there's volcano there, and a German girl, I met her at the top of the volcano, and she was brilliant, and she was just telling me about all of her travels throughout Central and South America, and I just did not even register like what you can backpack and see the world, and I just knew nothing of the sort, really. So she completely inspired me, and I was like, ditched everything, got a backpack, and just ended up going all throughout South
How long were you
America.
there for?
I was there for almost a year.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Did you teach to like fund the travel at
No,
all? Rob anyone?
fortunately, I was alone. I did it all alone. I had some finances to just go and be able to travel on a shoestring, of course. And yeah, so I just went for it. I took the opportunity, and I did not teach. I just went and explored and saw and came and
Any
conquered.
ayahuasca trips?
No, but I had San Pedro.
Oh,
Yeah.
how was that?
Wait, what's that?
It's a cactus, right?
It's a cactus.
Mescaline, right?
Yeah, it's mescaline. So basically, it was Halloween night. I was hiked Machu Picchu
Wow.
that day, all day. Well, I had been on the trip for like 3 days because it's the Inca Trail.
Did you take the stairs at Machu Picchu?
I
or
did
or
all the
elevator?
stairs. It's basically 3 days of hiking to
Wow.
Machu. Yeah.
Did you sleep on? They have a hotel like on the Machu Picchu. Did you ever do that?
Not at Machu Picchu, but like we had. I was on like a 3-day hiking and backpacking trip where you like pitch tents and you got to. I think it was from Cusco to Machu Picchu, basically. And yeah, it was a 3-night trip, and you finally arrive. I arrived Halloween. It was like a full moon. It was so beautiful. And then down after you spend all the day in Machu Picchu, I went down to the town. I think it's called Baños. Aguas Calientes. Hot waters. So there's like hot springs. And then I just saw a sign. I was walking in the town, and I noticed a sign in the window of a little small shop, and it said San Pedro, and it was literally written on a cardboard box, like a little
Like,
sign.
this seems legit.
Yeah,
like,
I was
this
like,
is good.
I looked, I like did a double take, and I looked, and I was like, oh, I entered the shop, and I asked the guy about experiencing San Pedro, and he's like, yeah, if you're going to do it, we need a group of people. And I just so happened to have met a bunch of people on the trip, and they're like, we need 4 hours to cook it down, and you'll go out with a shaman. And he explained and gave me a price point, and I was like, okay. So he goes, basically you have 4 hours to come up with all the people. I put like a deposit down. He started cooking the San Pedro because it's a process. And I went and begged my friends, please do this experience with me. And so I gathered a couple people to join me, and we went out it was such an epic experience. I cannot explain all of it. I mean, we met at this little shop, and we had a full Incan band, like panpipes and drums and guitars, and this shaman who I met like on the spot, and they took us on this wild journey. We took the railroad tracks down like a mile or two, and then passed through these beautiful hydrangea fields and banana fields, and by a waterfall, and that's where we set altar. And we gifted the altar and did this, the smoking of the ceremony.
Yeah.
And then you take, the shaman was leading this whole process, and it was super beautiful. It was nuts. It was like a dream.
How long does it last?
And do you get high?
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh,
no,
yeah.
they're like,
oh, man.
No.
You're so innocent.
I know.
Do you get high?
She's like, it's kind of like an Advil. A bit of a headache.
You get
No.
very high. So
Yeah,
all
but
these,
It's a hallucinogen.
So yeah, so like ayahuasca, mescaline, all of these have been used by indigenous cultures for literally thousands of years. as medicines to heal certain ailments.
But why do you get high in that sense?
You get high to sort of enter a different domain of consciousness.
Yeah. So I think when you think of getting high and you think of just like smoking weed, getting that high feeling, I think all of these hallucinogens to get to these higher levels of consciousness, the side effect is your body does get high, but then the plant also opens up neural pathways into other dimensions and expands your mind in certain ways. And there's always like a body high that comes with it. But
And it's fun too. It's also
But
fun.
I mean, yes, but you know, I'm a little bit afraid
Sure.
for those things,
Yeah.
even though it's like natural and stuff. But like ayahuasca, you have to like puke before,
You do.
and
like
poop.
a lot.
It's
A
all
lot.
It's, you're
You puking in a group.
Yes.
and
It's bonding.
it's
I'm not talking about
You're-
from
you're-
own
You
experiences.
have coffee with me once. Like,
And
you
that's,
look adorable.
that's so horrible. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's other drugs that don't do that.
But-
Like I did my first mushroom experience. I won't go into details.
You
but
can
my-
puke from that too, though.
Can you? I
Definitely.
guess you could.
Oh yeah.
dude, I can
Definitely.
puke
Yeah?
from anything.
Definitely.
I didn't. I did 4 grams with a guide. We did it with a tea, and I was blindfolded. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
He honestly went to
I flew to a place.
to a different state
to
to
do
do
it.
this with
What
With
this.
this
state?
guide. I'm not gonna say.
It's a state.
Texas. Why don't you? Why
I
don't?
don't know. It's not legal there.
It's like you're divulging the drug experience. You're like, I'm not gonna tell the state though.
I
mean-
I want to say Oregon because it's legal there, but it's not legal in.
But then,
I basically flew there to meet this guy. Basically, that's where he lives, and do it. I did it with him, and we mimicked the John Hopkins sort of clinical trials. So you're blindfolded, your music going, and it was beautiful. It was bliss for 4 hours. It was. Did you have a? I mean, you don't say bad experiences, but did you have a not as desired experience, or was it all pretty much?
I mean, it
positive?
sounded like a beautiful ceremony, but like I don't know the feeling you get inside because I don't like to be high.
Well, it's visually stunning. Was very inspiring because, and I had the best experience. I mean, I was in Machu Picchu. I mean, under a full moon on Halloween night with a
You don't even
Incan
need
band.
drugs.
It's like and a shaman. So yeah, visually it was so cool. It was one of my most memorable experiences in life. I love it.
Is there any sort of come down on it at all, or is it sort of just slowly tapers off?
It slowly tapered off. You definitely want to like nourish after, have something really delicious after you come down. And basically I had to get on a train at 7 a.m. So we left at midnight and returned at 6:30. They fed me like bananas and like banana bread and this delicious papaya or something. Just delicious. Everything tasted so amazing. I was like ravenous. And then I got on a train to Cusco, like still kind of tripping and just so high. And oh my God, it was just, I loved it.
We gotta take the podcast to South America.
Okay,
That's
the
the,
next episode we're gonna
Yeah,
try.
we gotta go. So how did you? Did a lot of these experiences happen before you moved to LA and got into set design? Was this sort of before all that, or was this during that kind of time?
It's kind of, those are two, well, when I was 20, I was doing the South America adventure. I was, so that was when I was pretty young. And then I moved to LA when I was 23 years old. And I did the whole crazy moto experience actually not too long ago. It was 2018. I did the cross country
year.
adventure. Yeah, it was a great year.
Yeah.
2018 was such an epic year.
Yeah, when the
Little
world
did we
still is
know.
open.
Little did we know things would turn.
Even New Year's 20, like, it was one of my best New Year's. The New Year's going into 2020, it's like, it's gonna be a good year.
You're like, this is it. This
Yeah.
is the
I
year.
get
I'm like-
out more.
I remember saying my goals, I'm gonna lock them down. I'm gonna go into lockdown with these goals. I'm gonna quarantine myself to achieve what I need to achieve. Like, no, you're gonna be forced.
Well, it happened.
It
It
did.
happened.
Never manifest exactly.
I
how
mean,
you think.
I came in 2019, and then pandemic hit. So, but 2018 was a good year.
Yeah, I locked down in India for the pandemic, so I started off with.
Ooh, tell me more about that.
Well, I was living there for the last 3 years, working in Bollywood as an actor and teaching improv. And we started seeing things happening. I was actually 2 weeks before the lockdown, I was in Rishikesh, northern India learning Transcendental Meditation. And I finished that, and I came out, and people were wearing masks. I'm like, really? Is this like gonna? And then like when we landed in Mumbai, they announced a 1-day lockdown. And I was like, how are they 1-day lockdown? And I think San Francisco's already in lockdown at this point. I'm like, whoa, this is spreading. I was like, yeah, just 1 day, the virus will be beaten, and then we're good to go. I'm like, I don't think it works that way, but okay. So we did the 1-day lockdown. They're like, okay, now we're just gonna do 2-week lockdown, and then they're like, oh, and we shut down all the airports. So the airports all closed, and I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, all right, guess I'm chilling here, you know. And then the U.S. announced evacuation flights, and so they opened up the airport just for the U.S. flights. And I hopped on them.
Wow.
And came back to the U.S.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Transcendental meditation?
Yeah. Do you do it?
I meditate. I don't know if I do transcendental.
It's basically they give you a mantra and you just say the mantra in your head.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It sounds really fancy.
I do it then.
Yeah.
It sounds fancy.
Well, I don't know if you know about Kundalini
yes,
yoga.
I bet. Yeah.
Dude.
Okay. So
do you practice?
I've been practicing for a long time, ever since I moved to LA.
Really?
Yes.
Do you have we were actually thinking about doing that and then talking about the podcast. There's a place in Beverly Hills.
Ooh, where?
I don't know.
I've done it. I've done a good amount of it.
Your place closed, right?
Golden Bridge Yoga that was on Highland that closed. Then it was called Nine Treasures. That was in West Hollywood.
Tage's place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, you got the. Where should we go if we want to like?
Go to Nine Treasures. Go to Tage's place.
It's still open.
I think she's
I
open.
think it might be in Santa Monica now because it used to be in like the plaza on Crescent Heights. But
she moved probably
Yeah.
from the karate gym.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It was a karate. It was like a karate gym above the McDonald's on Crescent Heights.
Yeah.
She's really good though.
Yeah.
The thing I love about Kundalini is there's a much more spiritual ceremonial element to the classes. When you do normal yoga here, it's like people are kind of in like gym gear and you just bring your mat. There's more of a ceremony and spirit to it, I guess. And
meditative and mantra.
Yeah, there's a at the end it ends with like the gong and then everyone's lying down and meditating and the gong is playing and it's just I feel like it's more of a sensory experience.
Do you do it at home or do you go to classes?
I do it at home, and I've been going to Golden Bridge. Went early days Golden Bridge, before they moved to the Hollywood location. Well, it was in Hollywood behind the ArcLight. Early days, it was a beautiful space, and then they had this other space, and I kind of missed that phase. I had moved to the west side to Venice for a while, and then Rama Institute, so it was like kind of out of the Hollywood Kundalini area thing, and then Rama Institute opened in Venice, and that I started going to classes again. But Tage specifically is someone I really love to practice with. I think she leads, and she's got a great sense of humor. First off,
she does.
I mean, if you like, she's just like kind of cool. She's a rad woman. So anyway, I love it.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
Sage.
Tage.
Tej, right?
Tage. Yeah.
I did one class on Beverly about a month and a half ago. It's my first Kundalini class, I believe so. And it was like the person had their laptop out, and they're kind of like, okay, so the moons are in this cycle. And all right, let's do some breath of fire. But there's like a cockroach in the class. And it was like coming towards me.
That's a bad omen.
And I'm like looking at it, and I'm trying to signal to her that there's a cockroach there because I don't want to like get up and just start. So I'm like, she's kind of like she's also breathing. She thinks I'm like maybe having a panic attack. I'm like, no. Then finally I'm like,
it's like
and then she looks and she sees it, and then she's like, okay.
It's like everyone's eyes closed, and you notice like the room's on fire. Fire! Yes, breath of fire. Get into it, Brian. It's a fire. Yes, feel it.
That'd be a funny sketch.
Did you experience what was your experience like when you're doing heavy breathing and breath of fire? Did you get a little high?
I didn't personally. I've done we all did a cacao ceremony recently.
Yeah.
And
that was very
intense.
intense.
Was powerful. My first
that was
one,
intense.
Yeah, super intense. The first one I did was 3 months ago. And on that I really I had like an emotional breakthrough, if you will. On that, like it was super emotional.
Yes,
everyone was having it. It was so powerful.
Yes,
we all did it together. We actually talked about it, the cacao ceremony. But with breath of fire, with the class I did with the cockroach, Nothing. I felt nothing at all.
Sounds
You
like
were
a cock-
distracted by that
I
cockroach.
was.
You were not focused.
I
That
was.
cockroach.
Was it crawling near you?
Yeah, it was like in front of my mat, and then it would go away, and then it would come
You
back.
gotta go
and, like,
back. You gotta go back and do it, or do it here. Just it's.
how about you guys? Because you've done Kundalini before.
I've done Kundalini, and the cacao was similar. I feel like the cacao, well, the breath of fire at least. The cacao, I had way more of that vibratory feeling through my body than normal Kundalini. Kundalini's poses, like, they kick my ass because like you're basically going to a plank or like making a bridge, and you hold it for like 10 minutes, and it's a lot. It's very physically enduring, much more so than I expected. Like I couldn't do a lot of the things the full time. So for me, it was very physically enduring. And then once you got to the meditation, I feel like that helped in
calm you down a bit.
Calm you down because you went through just speeding everything up, and then you kind of
Right.
relaxed.
Have
But-
you done it, Amanda?
No, I
Kundalini?
mean, the only breath work I did was with us.
That's
you
the
know,
only
when
one
we
you've
did
ever
the
done.
cacao ceremony. I mean, for me, it was fun, but it was weird. And I'm also like, I'm afraid of everything. You know, I'm afraid of letting go. So
Yeah.
my hands started cramping up like a little
Dino
dinosaur.
hands.
Dinosaur
Dino hands. I
Yes.
did too.
So I had that, and then my face started to like numb away. So
Yeah.
so I could barely like clench my lips and do
Yeah.
it. So I was like, so it was really like intense, but
Do you feel
also
you want
a
to sort
little
of
bit weird.
explore that? Because I feel the same. Like surrendering and letting go can be the hardest thing,
Yeah.
but it also can be so powerful when you surrender and you to the unknown and you let go. That's when you really get change to sort of come upon you.
That's the reason I can't get an orgasm.
Wait, what?
We're going back to sex, you guys.
No, but
It's
I-
because you feel like you can't let go of control.
Yeah, control. Yeah. So, but that was just like a side note. We don't have to talk about it.
Well, it's all
But
connected. If all your energy is like caught in your mind because the brain's trying to control everything, it's not flowing through the heart and even the sex organs, then that kind of makes sense. Where
Yeah.
you're trying to control
Great
it all
point.
from up here instead of letting it flow through.
I feel like I'm in the last month has become so much better of just like letting go of control and
Yeah.
just let whatever flow, go and not have to control every single piece of my life. You know what I mean? Like I quit my job without having a security because I
Woohoo.
really needed to do it.
That was a bold move. I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I could say the same. I mean, you're really brave and you've done a lot too. That is very brave. And you've done so much.
you.
You're really inspirational in that sense. And can you talk a little bit about the Dirty Girls Project?
Yeah.
It's not sexual, I promise.
Well, no, I'm joking. Dirty Girls Project. Yeah. Okay. So I have really good friends. Their names are Amber and Harper Willett. They're sisters. And back in the early 90s or mid 90s, right around when Kurt Cobain passed away, there was in LA, these kids grew up in LA. There was a documentary made of these high school kids, and it was about Amber and Harper growing up in LA, going to a school here called Crossroads, and a student was documenting these kids at this school. And so this documentary kind of surfaced in the early, like 2013. I believe. So it had been vaulted, this footage of the 90s, these girls growing up in the 90s. And basically, at school, they were called dirty girls. All the popular kids, all these cliques. This kid was interviewing everyone in this school, and they called these girls dirty because they didn't shower, and they were just like super feminist movement, like, I don't give a fuck. Totally into like grunge and that whole music scene. And in the documentary, it was revealed that they were actually being bullied. And so I highly recommend you watch this awesome documentary called Dirty Girls. You can get it, you can see it on YouTube. But Amber and Harper, when this documentary was released, they were like, let's start Dirty Girls Project. And so they basically took all of their friends and we started kind of like a club and started collaborating and mentoring like young teenage girls. We started collaborating with like fashion designers and cool artists and just doing crazy content creating. And anyway, so that inspired the whole feminist moto movement and a documentary that I started working on with Amber and Dirty Girls Project. And yeah, so we just started creating content, influencing young women and getting wild at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
So is this available, like the content you're creating, is that in terms of like, is that video content or is that sort of products or?
Well, yeah, it was everything basically. We did like a design, like fashion collaboration. We did artist collaborations. We did photographer collaborations. And then we started working on a documentary specifically for female motorcyclists.
That kind of reminds me, I feel like I want to find this. I think she's from LA too. Really cool girl I met in Vietnam when I was doing my motorbike trip. She had sold her eggs to fund her eggs. Yeah.
Oh.
Twice. She got a lot of money from it.
Really?
Like, yeah, like I think like close to $30,000.
What the F?
And she bought a
You get that?
Yeah.
From giving your eggs?
Yeah. She did go on hormones, I think, for a few months beforehand and do a lot of testing to make sure that she was super viable. But she had very viable eggs. And she sold them twice and basically funded this year-long trip before she was going to go do her master's program. Really, really cool woman I met. But traveling solo across Vietnam on a motorbike. Sold her eggs to fund it.
I love
Sold
that.
your eggs.
I love that. That is
I need to find her.
That
and
is
then
so
hook
dirty
you-
girls.
Yeah,
That
I
is
need to
so like, you know
introduce you
what?
guys.
Yeah, I need to meet her.
I need to find her.
For sure.
They're
That is
in LA, they'll actually give you more money if you sell your egg whites because it's just a little bit more,
Yeah, more
valuable
protein,
over
right?
here. Yeah.
Yeah. I've
So
heard
it's
that
something to
egg whites is
consider.
the shit now.
Um,
No, but I didn't know it was
I like
that much
that.
money though.
it depends. It depends.
Because I was
think, on
thinking of
teams
doing
and-
it for free. Because I
Oh.
think it's like for a good cause for people
Yeah.
who can't have children if they want it.
But
They-
sometimes it's just for people who, it's for people who can't have children, and but also sometimes like it's just they don't want to maybe give birth if they're like an actor, so they'll hire someone else, but
Yeah,
use their eggs, or there's many reasons. But yeah, it's a great thing. You're helping people out for whatever reason, but it does take a toll on you, so you got to take that into account because you have to go on
Oh.
hormones.
I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
it's an intense process.
It's
It
not like-
is not
yeah.
easy. I know so many females, friends that are freezing their eggs for the future. And that costs a lot of money that's like, I have no idea what the price point is, but you have to go on a tremendous amount of hormones and then you have to pass all of these eggs at once, which seems so extreme. It's like, wow. And I think it takes a real toll on your body. There's some recovery too. So, and they don't talk about that. You know how they do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know how they do. They're like, it's easy, no big deal. Like giving birth.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, right, bitch. Get away.
I know it's
No
almost
way.
perpetuated in culture and in Hollywood where it's like, I heard you froze your eggs like on a red carpet. Yes, I'm so excited, but they're not showing the side. Like, yeah, it was fucking painful and a long type of thing.
It's like parenting.
Yeah, exactly.
No one tells the truth.
And you all.
And I mean, it's easy for some people to parent because they have like 4 nannies, you know, like the ones that are super successful and all of that. They're like, I'm a mother, I'm an entrepreneur, I do this, I'm do this. And everyone looks at it and be like, oh, I guess I should also be that, like a super mom and an entrepreneur and an actress and a host.
Yeah.
And then they realize like, oh no, she actually has like people working
Right.
for her
And
and
if-
she can afford it.
If you notice, like the magazine covers for like a celebrity that gives birth, it's like how Jennifer got her body back in just like 3 weeks. That's what's
Yeah.
focused on, not like how Jennifer's body like has transformed through motherhood because the brain and the entire body is now providing for a living thing. But I feel like the focus is always on vanity and
yeah.
what they can sell from that.
That's
True.
for Vanity Fair
Definitely.
magazine.
It's for like all the magazines.
Yeah, I
You
know, I
always
know,
see
yeah.
that. It's like, look at her body bounce back so quickly. And
Well, they're
it's,
just trying to sell as many things.
exactly. But why is that the most important
Right.
part of that whole miraculous experience?
It's been going on since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
yeah.
I've
that
learned it-
pressure on women to
Yeah.
be, do, and
Yeah.
look a
One of-
certain way.
One of my close
constantly.
friends just had her second child, and just from listening to her experiences, I've learned so many things that I never knew. She's like, my sex drive has been like non-existent for a while. My whole body just feels like it's like depleted in ways, and I didn't know any of those things because I feel like so much of it is kind of just the way men have this toxic masculinity. I don't want to say toxic femininity, but it's almost like women just speak about these things like behind closed doors about what's going on, but I feel like a lot of men and society in general don't know what
What's actually going on?
what actually happens through childbirth and early motherhood and all of that.
Yeah, you didn't even know about the menstrual cup.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Steven.
Did you?
I knew about
I
it.
played beer pong with
You
one
did.
once.
No.
I still don't know what a menstrual cup is.
You still don't know? Go back and listen to our episode.
It's like a pad, right? But it's a cup.
No.
You have it up. In
It's
your,
actually
okay.
a
Yeah,
silicone cup, so it's like almost like a little rubbery.
Yeah, I
thing
have
that
one
you
in
put
right
just
now.
like
you put
dispenses
yeah, but
into
it
it.
doesn't absorb anything. It just holds the
And then you
liquid
like
in a
you
cup.
dump it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the problem with these things. They don't. I mean, some people talk about it. I mean, but you have to, like, say you're in a public place and it's like, I gotta go clean out my cup. You know, you want
I
to rinse
know.
that thing
I-
before.
oh,
and
yeah.
You don't
Oh,
wanna, yeah,
definitely.
and so it's kind of hard to do it. And that's why I personally haven't gone there yet, is because, you know, I'm a traveler, so I'm always in a public bathroom. But but you have to clean the cup out in the sink.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just don't think, I don't know if I really want to be like someone washing their hands and then I'm like, you know, swabbing my
here's-
cup with blood down the sink. Sorry guys for the
Yeah.
graphic, but
I mean, since I discovered it, my life has changed forever. So
Is it because tampons are
Did Katie
Her-
inspire that?
I did
Or before
I did
that?
have it before,
Uh-huh.
but when she came, it was just in the beginning, and then I
Oh,
got
wow.
more intrigued to using it. So I've actually been using it since then.
That's
I
great.
have one in
Environmentally
right
friendly.
now, just so you know.
yes.
it's
Sure.
it's more natural is the big draw to it.
And-
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's
Is
really,
the cup like rubber?
it's silicone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's like, for the environment, I think it's great.
Mm.
And for, you guys had mentioned toxic shock syndrome too. That's
yeah.
another benefit
Mhm.
of avoiding that. And
Yeah.
then it's just all those applicators and stuff, and it's reusable. And
Yeah, I
So-
just really like mine. But yeah, public bathrooms.
I got to get over my
Stay
fear.
away.
Yeah, I
But-
got to get over my
Especially the
fear.
see-through ones.
I don't like pooping in public bathrooms. I feel like I mentally can't even do it, especially like airport ones when first of all, why are stalls built with like cracks through all of them? Can we build the other like few
Bottom
inches?
cracks, you're talking about the door
All of them. Why is there a bottom crack? Like why is
cracks? The
this
bottom cracks for mopping.
Okay.
too damn
okay,
bad?
let-
Build me a full door that goes from floor to ceiling.
Steve D'Amico for president.
For real.
Build the doors.
Seriously.
In Europe, they build floor to like the full length door
Yeah.
for privacy.
Yeah.
But-
So you'll see that more
Yeah.
in like European countries.
Yeah.
And I think that's really civilized too. So
I don't understand why there's just everyone just
You would
accepts
hate
it.
in parts of India.
Well,
where
I
there's
know
just a hole.
in China it's
Yeah.
it's not about the hole or a toilet. If
Oh,
I had
it's about the
if
hole.
I had a full door, I don't mind squatting into a hole. It's the fact that it just seems
Have you
like
ever done
I
it?
don't. Yeah, I did it once
Where?
in China.
Ah.
I don't think I pooped in it though. But even in the,
Why are you squatting in it then?
I think it was actually
Good question.
I think it was actually a glory hole. I misunderstood.
Oh.
Why was I squatting in it? I remember seeing one. I don't know if I used it. I think it was in like the
Okay.
Beijing bathroom.
But I feel like that gives it like a bad because like people assume like, oh, China or Korea, these Asian countries, they just, yes, they do have those in rural areas, but they also have the most advanced toilets in the world too.
the bidets.
Yes. In Japan, it plays music. It's a heat
And-
warmer.
a fan.
A fan. It blows water. You control your temperature. What else does it do? I think it's
I-
built in Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think you can watch TV.
Like,
on
you do
YouTube.
everything.
You can
Like,
karaoke on the toilet.
Probably.
Yeah.
You don't
I
have
think
to
so.
leave.
Are you guys serious? How do you watch TV?
You
It has like a
it's
TV
like
inside
and
the
then
hole.
you're like washing and drying, and I think it scrubs
they're
your
so
asshole.
advanced.
I agree. I'm on wipes now, and I'm never going back to toilet paper, just because it just makes more sense to have something with water.
Get the tushy.
It's like a squatty potty.
It's like a little bidet,
Ah.
and it hooks up to
They were
your
on Shark Tank, weren't they?
maybe, or is it tush or tushy? Amazing. You will. Oh, it's delightful to have a rinse after a poo.
That's nice.
It is
I
so
thought you said you rent. I was like, what?
rinse.
I
A rinse.
$4, thank you.
A rinse. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's go get one. They're like
Should we get one?
$65.
I don't know what's this we. I have my own toilet.
We can build a toilet in the living room and just split it.
You
For the guys.
guys.
But I need a full wall around me.
Oh man. Do you, speaking of toilets, do you still do set design?
I do not. Speaking of toilets,
Speaking of it,
no, I do not do any set decorating or designing. I got out of that really early in my career. The film and television industry is pretty hardcore. It's like 12, 14, 16, 18-hour days.
Yeah.
And that you can do that for a little while. I know people that have worked in the industry for years, decades, and they just, woo. But I think their relationships suffer, their quality of life suffers, and I think I caught on to that early on, thank God.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still had been working in production, event production, which is a little bit better, and then I moved on and started doing other things, various forms of production. But yeah, I think I had to move away from that early on. I got a good dose of it, like got a taste, and I was like, you know what? No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
chose.
we saw a lot of that with the, I guess the protests that were about to happen and the strike and stuff. Because it makes no sense for people to be working 18-hour days every day.
Yeah,
Because
12.
It never ends.
12-hour days are typical, and I think 12-hour days are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think honestly, 8 hours a day is nuts, but
Yeah.
I think
Same.
I think 6 is the
I think
is
there's
the number.
also-
4 days a week.
yeah.
There's
Sign me
also
up.
a lot of
Yeah,
wasted time
definitely.
on sets too. I feel like with like just people trying to figure things out, and I get it. Like sometimes you have to do that, but I always find there's a lot of wasted time. I'm like,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, like it's just too much, and everyone has to suffer because of it. Because of one person maybe indecision at the time, now the whole crew's waiting around, or this is happening.
Yeah.
It's
and-
a wasted time. It's just a ton of waste, period.
Yeah.
Like waste, material waste. It's every spectrum of waste.
it's actually funny when you say that 6-hour days or like between 4 and 6 hour work days and then like 4 days a week. That would actually be the only thing that would make me consider a 9 to 5 if the schedule was like that, because right
Yeah.
now I have really commitment issues
Mhm.
scarred since before. So I don't want to have another job. Like I don't want to sign that contract to say like, okay, I'm going to work full time for you, because I just feel like 8 hours, 5 days, I'm going to be exhausted when I get home. And I mean, obviously, I can kind of get a few of those jobs that you have to work like 18 hours. Like, for example, yesterday I was at People's Choice Award. It was really fun. But I remember when I walked out and I just looked at the production crew and I was like, they're going to be here all night and, you know, take down the stage and bring everything home and pack it all up. I'm like, this is going to take a while. And it was only for a 2-hour show.
They're probably still doing it, and then all of the custodial type of workers, I'm sure there was like overnight ones to get it all done.
I can speak People's Choice Award, rather. I worked on that set back in 2008 when I was an animation producer.
Oh, yeah?
And so I can speak to that fully.
I can imagine
that is like the full form of production I was working on. And I remember working literally 18-hour days on that project.
I can imagine that.
And it was so nuts. I even remember sleeping in a trailer overnight trying to get all of the animation done in time for the show.
And they do it in this airport in Santa Monica. in like
I saw
airport
some
garage.
clips and I was like, where are they? I thought they should.
Burger Hanger,
Yeah.
probably.
Probably. I don't
It's
know.
a great-
Change locations each year?
No.
It's always there.
I mean, last year it was there too.
Okay, well, back in the day, they did it at Universal Studios here, or
Oh, yeah.
whatever. But
Because
yeah,
I was like, why do you have to? Because now they have to build everything from like the ground.
Yeah.
It was like tents set up, and I don't know. I just thought about how much effort they put into making this fake stage and fake,
for 2 hours.
Not
Yeah.
to mention the
content.
fake awards. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, why are we like? What is a
Who
people's
votes for them? Yeah, who?
It's
I
just
have no
it's
clue.
just a money making program, just like anything else on TV, to sell ad space and to sell the products of everyone that's being featured, the projects they're working on. The
Right.
awards are pointless.
This
What
was
does it
your
even mean?
first award show in America, right?
People's Choice Award. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What was that? Was it fun being there? Was you like what was your
Were you-
experience like?
I mean,
you were at the
How did it
show,
feel to
right?
get
In the
award
odd.
of People of the Year. Was that what was that?
Last night I said, did you see Amanda's Instagram? She just got presented with an award for best podcast, and Brian's like, what? It's like,
We're getting there.
yeah.
But no,
This close.
this close. It's
How
just
do they even know about
trial
it?
and
That's
error.
crazy. Why weren't we invited? What?
She thanked us.
He's like, oh, I'm just kidding. I'm like, okay, that wasn't funny.
that would have been something. No, I mean, it was fun to see, but it's also always interesting to be on set and just see how it looks in real life
Yeah.
and how it actually looks on television, because it looks so much grander and bigger and bolder, and like in reality it's like,
Tiny.
yeah,
Did you
I don't
feel
know.
like you were sort of at this award show, or did you feel more like you were now an actor? Because like, all right, cutting for 5, take your lunch break. Can we get all the guests over here? Did they do any of that, like mixing you around at different seats and stuff?
No, we were seated
Okay.
during the entire show, but maybe a little bit more like an actor, but it just made me feel it's just a fun thing.
Yeah.
But the most fun part was that Jeff Bezos was there.
Was he?
Really?
That's insane.
Why was he there?
He gave like an award to The Rock.
He bought the People's Choice Awards.
Yeah, he probably did, honestly,
He
because
owns it. Yeah.
I was like, is that?
And he just made a cameo.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Did he actually buy it?
No,
Oh.
I'm joking. That is not
probably-
true.
We don't know.
That
Probably
is not
probably
true.
not
Ownership. Who actually
That
owns the
is-
People's Choice Awards? What channel does it air on?
He bought the
I have
Washington
no
Post. I know
clue.
that.
Oh.
I think
bought
it airs on
that.
Fox. It's probably some kind of business dealing. Do you feel like you've seen behind the illusion of Hollywood the more these types of events you go to, and you're like, okay, this is just smoke and mirrors?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like I think I understand more. When you first come to LA and people say like, oh, people are so fake. Everyone's so fake. Everyone wants something from you. And it's true, but it's not because I
Get
don't
$20.
think it's take it after.
Can I have 5 of that?
Can I move in? But the thing is, no. So I think that a lot of, people you meet, they don't use you because they're evil people.
Mhm.
But I can really see that that's how it goes. It's
Yeah.
like, follow me on Instagram and I follow you back. I post, you post, I post.
Mhm.
You do this, I post for you. So like people want to help each other, but it also comes off a little bit, excessive too.
It's a city of networking too, where like your career is sort of determined by who you know and what projects you've done. So everyone kind of knows this in the back of their mind, and they feel like a lot of people want to sort of network their way up, and it creates this weird sort of thing where people are like, okay, what have you done? Or like, oh, you're an actor, cool. What have you been in? Nothing I've seen. That's great meeting you. Take care. Versus like, oh, you're a producer. Or what have you done? And then like they're seeing if your resume is worth your time to speak to them.
No.
And this happens a lot in big cities.
It's true.
But you go to small cities, they don't care. It's like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like, let's play a card game. Like that's
But
fun. Let's
yeah,
like,
but that's, for you've been in like big productions and big events. How did you feel coming from Nashville to LA? Did you feel like there was a difference too, and the people, or was it just different in 2003?
Oh, completely. It took me a long time to actually really bond with LA, because growing up in Tennessee, I was always like, LA people are so fake.
Yeah.
I will never live in LA. I used to tell myself as a kid, And I just thought LA was just really about plastic surgery and fake people. And I got here, I learned that there's a lot of layers to it. There's obviously so tremendous diversity, and you've got the entertainment industry, and I got a big dose of that. And I realized that it was true. A lot of it was accurate. But there are so many layers and awesome cultural dynamics here. And it took me a while, but I did end up falling in love with LA.
That's what I hear a lot. I feel like people because I just moved here a year ago, and everyone's like, you just got to find your tribe, and it takes time. But when you find your tribe, you'll love LA. And I feel like it's even like Silver Lake area, like it has its own energy to it versus West Hollywood versus Culver City. Like it attracts certain different kind of people. And you just kind of have to shop around and see what resonates like with you more, and then sort of go in that area. Because then all your interactions change, right? If you're like, super into whatever partying, but you go live in a spiritual area, part of town, whatever, you're not going to vibe with that. And vice versa. If you're really spiritual and you're into this, but you're in the heart of West Hollywood above, the Abbey, you're going to hate that. People are lining up outside every night and music blasting to 2 a.m. So I feel like a lot of it's just finding that sort of your tribe in your area and sort of navigating your life around that.
Yeah, I mean, LA is big and it has a lot to offer.
Yeah.
You just got to find it.
Yeah, you got to find your LA family for sure. Yeah, it's really important.
LAfamily.com.
LA family, let me help you find your perfect LA family.
It's like LAfamilymatch.com. Let's do it.
We would all use that.
Yeah, definitely.
We really would.
But the thing is, if we were to use it, we would never have been friends. Because you would have been spiritual. I don't know. I don't even know.
That's the
funny.
No,
you're
but
funny. You're
that's
funny.
it.
Yeah, but you're probably but you would probably be in not to be that, but maybe look more in towards gay community.
Yeah.
That are on the
And
same
comedy.
page of you. Yeah, and comedy.
Yeah.
And you spiritual, and I don't even know. We'll see.
I'd be in the comedy. I mean, that's why most of my life happened because of Facebook groups.
Yeah.
When I was in Vietnam, the only reason I discovered improv comedy was I saw a Facebook post. The only reason I got that travel show is because I saw a Facebook post. I wanted to see what foreigners were doing. And I responded, did that, and they're like, "Hey, you're funny. Would you want to host a travel show?" And I was like, "Yeah, tell me more."
I need to know more about this travel show.
It's kind of awful, but
I don't believe it.
it's me in the jungle of Vietnam for 20 days with a producer, a film crew, and a drone operator, trying to navigate and be funny. And I was the heaviest. I think I was 265 pounds. And there's this one scene where I'm crawling through this mud in the Kamalv jungle, and I'm sinking, and this short Vietnamese guy's pulling me out, and I'm trying to be yeah, so as you can see, it's really thick here, and he's pulling me out, and then they added this cartoon music over it, and I'm this is embarrassing.
That's horrible.
This filmed in Vietnam?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Do you speak Vietnamese?
Very little. At the time, I knew a bit more, but Mo Chu Tinh Viet. I speak a little Vietnamese.
Okay.
But I had an interpreter there, so they would sort of.
Okay.
And it's a few things we cheated in the sense if I was interviewing you and some of the northern dialect which I spoke and the southern are very different. And we're in the southern, in the Camel Forest south of Saigon. And so we'd be having an in-depth conversation, and I didn't know what they're saying because they're going really fast and they're getting really emotional. I'm what's going on? So I'm kind of just trying to react to that. And then for my sort of reactions, the producer would sit down, the camera would go in front of her, and then she would say in English, my entire house burnt down after the Americans murdered my grandfather. And I'm what?
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
That's horrible.
So there's a lot of that.
A lot of depth
yeah,
there. That's a lot of truth
Was
there.
the show supposed to be about a foreigner going?
Yes. It's
Okay.
called Vietnam Discovery. So it's about foreigners going out in Vietnam, discovering the beauty
And
of
did
Vietnam.
you ever hear it back in Vietnamese narration and see if they actually translated it in the way that you were saying, or were they making you the butt of the joke?
No,
The village white man coming in and getting
There's a
stuck in
little
the
bit of that.
fields and boom, 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 boom.
There's a little bit of that. For the translations I think are pretty accurate, but there's a bit of that sort of I'm this American guy coming in sort of exploring, and it was supposed to be a comedy. I mean, they brought me on because of my improv comedy experience. So
We
there
had-
was that element for sure.
Yeah, we had kind of a similar show in Sweden where we brought in Americans and we just laugh at them, to be honest. And it's horrible, but it's about American people that have like Swedish heritage.
Uh-huh.
So they come there to like find it. But it almost becomes a little bit weird because Swedes are not used to the Americans. Like,
Right.
I love this. Everyone's like, oh my goodness. It was like very. So I think that for that show, the Americans are really like, yeah, the ones that we
this
make
one
a
wasn't
joke.
so much about like making fun of it because it wasn't just Americans, all foreigners. I think the goal of it was sort of to have foreigners see the beauty of Vietnam.
Yeah.
To see
Yeah.
Vietnam, besides when you hear Vietnam, immediately you think the Vietnam War with America and Vietnam, right? That's immediately what flashes through your mind. Agent Orange, blood, all of these things, and there's so much more to that. And so the show really is trying to showcase like the beauty of the Vietnamese culture and the food and the landscape, and it is such a beautiful country. Just my episodes tend to be very comical and not
I'm
always the
dying
best
to go
ends.
and explore Vietnam.
You 100% should.
I would love it.
If you go to
we
Hanoi,
would-
let me know.
I will
I'll introduce
let you
my
know.
improv team out there.
I will go.
Yeah, and you could do the motorbike trip.
I'll do the motorbike trip.
Yeah.
I actually did a little moped trip through Thailand.
Did you? That's where I
Yeah.
learned how to drive
Yeah.
one. Which part?
I was in, gosh,
North or south?
It was like a little. It was west of Bangkok, and it was along a river, and I don't forgot the name of the town. But
Okay.
I went to Burma, like not Burma, but
Myanmar.
Myanmar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on
For
the border.
motorbike.
Yeah, I was on, but I didn't cross the border. I got to the border, and I got a double flat tire in the rain, in the middle of nowhere.
Double flat?
Like both of my tires
Dude,
went
then-
flat when I was going like 45
You know what they do
miles
there,
an
though,
hour.
right?
They what? Tell me.
So a lot of the times the mechanics will put nails out in the road. So
Makes sense.
you get flats, and that's why you get so many flats.
oh my!
I had it.
Yeah,
I,
it'll happen more when
God.
you're like in the smaller towns, not on the big highways, because that would just cause too much chaos. It's more these smaller routes. Yeah, it's quite common. And they're like, "Oh, your tires out? Well, $50." You know, and you're like, "Oh,
I was in.
happened to me. This happened to me.
yeah."
It was in the rain. It was crazy monsoon weather. I was like, I've got to make it to the
Yeah.
border, and just like wee, really trying to get in there, and I was just like, and I was like, I was so close. I was literally like
No.
at the border, and then I got a double flat tire, and I had to get someone on, and I was in the middle of nowhere.
Were you alone?
alone?
That's scary.
I was nuts
Yeah.
back then. I'd
So
still
you never
do it.
made it to Myanmar.
I did not.
Beautiful country.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
not. Yes, I'm
Now,
really
not the
wanting
best time to go because of the
but
genocide.
later.
yeah.
Yeah.
And because of COVID.
There's that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple.
But it's I mean, Southeast Asia is so beautiful. Like, I mean, Thailand is the most touristy of all of them. But even there's elements of if you ever go up to Pai in the northern part, and it's like you get in these like nice little like rice paddies, and it's so nice. There's a little hostel there called Mama Sa's or something. It's really hard to get in, and it's like the dingiest hostel. But it's her and her husband's this artist, and so it's covered with all this artwork. And she's so friendly. She treats you like your family, and like it's such a cool vibe. But it's like a 2-month waiting list to get in with a room with bunk beds.
I love
Really?
art.
Yeah,
Is it because of the community that goes there?
it's just travelers. She's very well known. You just hosted recently an art gallery at your house. How did that?
Yeah,
come
that's
about?
where me and Brian found you. Like, I knew you since before, but that was Brian. First time meeting
I
you.
know.
Yeah,
It was really fun. Did you guys have a good time?
I did.
We
I
really
loved
did. Yes.
Your house is awesome.
Yes, and we
Yeah.
all obviously fell in love with your house because you know I love your house.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're so glad you've agreed to let us take over your lease. And-
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, how kind
Moving
of
in
you.
tomorrow, right?
Today.
Today.
No,
Oh,
but it was a
shoot.
beautiful show, and the art was stunning.
Thank you. Yeah. So I used to do these pop-up art gallery art shows, basically, at my house. I had a really small craftsman house in Venice on Abbot Kinney, which is, if anyone knows, it's like a major shopping street
Oh, yeah.
in Venice. It's awesome. So it was a great location. I did that in like I did it for 8 years, and I would do like 2 or 3 a year, and they had huge success. It was a small space, so we'd really pack it in, and there's absolutely nothing to do in Venice at night. So people just like flocked, and I loved it. And so for many years, I moved back to the east side to Silver Lake from Venice, and I just stopped doing it for 6 years. It's been a big lull. And yeah, and last weekend I decided, or a few weeks ago, I decided to like, hey, I'm ready to go back and do this and transform my space, clear the entire home basically, and set up an art gallery.
And we have to do that again. You have to do more.
Yeah, there
Did
will.
you say we have to do that? I love that.
Yeah, but
I
I
love
mean,
that. And
you
we
have to
do more.
you have to do, and we have to come. We have to go.
We
Yeah.
have a future art show coming up, so it'll
Do
be in
you?
April. Yeah, so we're
Ooh.
gonna do it again. It was totally successful this past weekend, and thanks for coming out and supporting.
Yeah.
It means the world to me that
Of course.
you two came out, and you're coming in April.
I was
No
going to go. I got
excuses.
caught up.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you think art galleries, there's more of a demand for it now because maybe over the last year or so, there's like a shift to more NFTs and digital type of art where there's more of a craving for the traditional art galleries? Or where do you see the trends going? I was reading some artists now they feel disenfranchised from the high stakes gallery world, and they would rather do things through NFTs or digitally or independently.
That's what I have experienced with the artists that I love to support. They're usually smaller artists that have had maybe not such huge gallery experience. I mean, they have a little bit of experience. And so when they come into and see the space, like for instance, Brooke Sauer, who we just had the art show for, she had not shown her art for a few years, obviously the pandemic, but she came into the space and loved the idea of it being a residential space, something so intimate, unique, and it wasn't this crazy expense for her either. It's not like most galleries want 40 to 60% of the sales, and that's not what I'm about at all. So it's a unique experience for sure for artists. And I have the next artist is going to be he's amazing. He's had a lot of gallery experiences. And my space would be very small for him. But the fact that it's just, again, a unique experience is and intimate and like very local centric, supporters like LA support is very unique to them. So I think that's the biggest draw for my gallery event. It's just like, it's not actually a gallery, it's just a pop-up. So I think, and as far as digital and NFTs, I don't know enough to speak about it, but I'd like to like know more, and maybe you can like
I don't know
talk
that
about
much
it a
about it,
little
but I'm
bit.
wondering if like the future of galleries are just like monitors all over the
Well, I was just
room
gonna say
instead
that.
of the
That'd be
actual
kinda
art.
interesting if you actually did that. You set up a gallery, but with like iPads, and the iPads display the NFT. It's kind of
I'm sure
redundant.
it'd be bigger than an iPad. It'd probably make a large monitor.
But it's kind of like it's like a picture of a digital picture that looks like a real picture. It's kind of weird, you know. I don't really
Inception.
understand this whole NFT. I see people on Instagram being like, "I just made my first NFT. Log in here if you like
Yeah.
to buy." And I'm like, "Why would I?"
And if NFTs are interesting from a business perspective, but from a creative or art perspective, it's
Yeah.
kind of, I don't get it.
I mean, it feels a little bit like cryptocurrency
Mm.
that I'm still not sure where it's going to go,
no one
so to
is.
speak. No, obviously no one is, but
Yeah.
like, because some people have more like strong opinions, like
Yeah.
this is going to be the future. And I'm like, I'm actually
Like
not so
other
sure.
than owning an NFT to make money off it, say I own the Mona Lisa NFT and I just like making a killing because everyone wants to use it. I understand that, but for personal use, what are you going to do to display your NFT? Have a monitor
You'd
on the
have to
wall?
have a monitor,
It
I
just
guess,
looks.
or just
It just
known-
looks kind of
I can
like
get it if
janky,
you've
I
sort
feel
of
like.
actually
like a
created it.
PowerPoint. Welcome to my PowerPoint.
Yeah.
room.
it's
It's like weird.
It's a different, I guess, mindset. I don't think I know as much either, but like I personally would rather have the physical thing so I can touch it
Yeah.
and look at it.
Mm.
But maybe that's just me. Maybe other people feel that sort of passion about having a digital version.
It's like analog versus digital.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people just want the real
Yeah.
thing and the tradition, like
Yeah.
tradition.
How would you
traditional-
display it? Yeah, you would have
If
like
I think,
TV and
well, for now, but eventually, when whatever
Print
we
out
have,
a-
what kind of like earpiece or whatever they want to give us for technology, and we'll be able to. Here's your phone right in front of you. Here of the NFTs on the wall, but they're not.
Well, Google
they're not.
tried
They're
that
not
and
actually
failed.
on the wall.
Yeah, the Google tried. That whole thing was kind of funny when people were like out with. Do you remember this with the Google glasses? And they were out recording people, and people like, don't record me, like. And then they're like, we're being discriminated. Like they took this stance of they're being like discriminated against, and people don't understand. The people with that, and the people like, shut up! Like you're in a bathroom, you should not be recording people. You know, as you're walking in, like your rights aren't being infringed on here. Like you're breaking other people's rights. You know. I was like, no, that's not the way.
No, the people wearing the glasses were
Yes,
getting upset with what?
Yes, they were getting upset that people were bullying them or like treating them like, you know, disrespectful, or like they're being marginalized by society. And people are like, you're recording people against their permission. Like,
I know. It's like walking
you're
into
the-
someone's home with a camera crew and be like,
Yeah.
the lighting's not good. What the hell, guys? Like,
But it stopped basically, right? I think it will come back though, Google Glass. I think in a different form. I think it will. But that kind of went under. It's an interesting idea, but it's sort of this weird privacy.
Imagine a Google product going under.
Yeah.
That's
imagine
a few of them.
Imagine a Google product not having the best interest
Yeah.
of humans.
Well, they got rid of their slogan
Ah.
of "Do no evil." They got rid of that.
I'm gonna get DuckDuckGo glasses. You know.
They just don't work. They're just normal glasses. Like no one can track you. You can just improve your vision. It's amazing.
I think eventually they don't even need glasses. There's probably some nanoparticle they can use to create that experience.
For sure, yeah. I was
But-
just reading they've just launched a nano product into the air to track weather patterns and also population. I don't know if you saw that. I wasn't sure how the two are related, but they kind of threw that in. They can track population densities. And I was like, wait, hang on. What? And we're just releasing this into the air? Like, you could breathe it in. Like, what? This doesn't seem like the best idea. I don't know.
Wow, I can't even imagine like
Yeah.
a nano product, like just this little particle
Yeah.
floating in the air that's picking up all this data.
Yeah. It's weird. They
that
just
is
released
really
Yeah.
Science.
They just released modified mosquitoes, which is actually a good thing. So they released mosquitoes basically to get rid of malaria and dengue. And somehow it I don't know how that works, but they genetically modified, I think, the females. So they would only mate with certain males that don't have this or something. So basically naturally they'll get rid of the malaria in the population. Unless there's a weird side effect because they're genetically modified. But
I mean, I don't even know what to believe anymore. Like when I hear all these, have you heard that? I think it's fun.
What?
It's a conspiracy theory that says the bird is not a thing. Like
The bird?
The scooter?
No birds are existing anymore. Apparently,
that they're all-
according to
deep on Reddit.
I've heard that they're all surveillance.
right. That's what because I heard it on the radio. It was like this thing about this group of people that believes in it, but that it's also have become like no one actually believes it, but they just do it to mock society, and that's why they join this group of birds are only surveillance
I've
group.
literally
I don't know.
never
It was
heard
a
of it.
full documentary on radio.
I think they don't even need to do that. I think there's surveillance built in through
Through the cameras on the streets.
Well-
What do you mean? You don't need birds. Like every camera, like.
But according to this group, like the last
Wait,
bird
Amanda,
that died.
how did you get into this group, and how
2000
deep are you into this bird? The
I'm
birds
not-
aren't real group.
No, I mean I'm pretty deep because
You're pretty deep. Oh
Not-
no.
I don't believe it,
Well,
but I mean
yeah.
I heard the documentary on the radio. So
Oh, there's a documentary about
yes,
these
about
people.
the people. That
But what
believes
about
in
what
it.
about bird shit? What's that?
I don't know.
Ooh, spoiler alert.
They're just like
I'm
pooping
not-
out USB drives.
I'm not.
Oh, my car got danged. with a bunch of USBs.
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe
I
that's
can't
why
explain
it's
it.
lucky if a bird poops on you because all the other birds are fake. And it's like it was a real bird. It pooped on you. That's a crazy conspiracy. I don't know. Don't go too deep in that one.
No, I'm not. But
Yeah.
it was a fun episode to listen.
I'm sure
to.
you could build a drone that blends in with the birds. But
Obviously, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you could build an AI that looks like humans that has human reactions. You could easily build you could buy it at Toys R Us. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. You could buy it at a store.
wait,
But it
Toys
was
R Us
like-
is gone.
I think they're done, right?
Amazon.
Yeah, literally. It's crazy that Toys R Us was such a staple store. Circuit City, Radio Shack, and Toys R Us
Yeah.
were
Gone.
kingpins. and they're pretty much all gone. And what's funny is Amazon, everything went online, and now Amazon is building stores so people can shop in person. It's just like, what?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because people still want to go in and have that experience of touching it. And so now Amazon's building stores everywhere.
It's just grocery stores, right? But do you think they're
they're going tech as well. And in Europe, they have it. They have the stores you can go and actually shop for just normal items.
Marina Del Rey, they have an Amazon store.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah,
it's
in
all
Westfield,
tech and books, and it's like a bookstore.
Yeah, they have one in the Westfield Mall too.
What?
Century City.
Do you get all the same deals?
Yeah.
What if they're like, we're gonna have to ship it to you? What? No. What?
But that's
It's gonna
where
be 7 to 10 days to pick up your book.
Do you remember that used to be 7 to 10? Now everything's 2 days.
Yeah,
It's 2 days shipping.
but I mean, that store, because you can go to that store and do your returns there, so you don't have to send it. That's what I do.
That's what I do too.
Yeah.
I do the returns at Whole Foods.
Yeah, just Whole Foods. Go to the UPS store right there.
But then you have to send it.
Yeah, but you can just print out a label.
No, you don't even have to do that. You just literally hand them the package.
Yeah,
at Whole
you're
Foods.
just like,
Depends
here-
on the
here's my
packages.
stuff.
Some require you to have a box.
Really?
Yeah, and the UPS would like it's $10 for the box.
That's
I'm
why
like,
you shouldn't
what?
send it. That's why you should just leave it at the Amazon store.
Yeah, there's different options.
I'm gonna take you to the Amazon store someday.
That's the kindest thing. It'll be like the time you try to go to IKEA to buy Swedish meatballs. We actually did that. The line was so long during the pandemic.
It was during the pandemic.
IKEA.
The only place open.
It was
It's like the
so
heart of the
long.
lockdown. Like, yeah, that's amazing. We hop in the car, we drive over there, and the line was so.
It was like a
long
2-hour line.
For meatballs.
for
yeah.
meatballs. Did we eventually go? Was that?
We never went.
We did. I went with my ex. Sorry, that's what it was.
Oh.
I was like, because I still had to fill that need of.
I was at
going to
IKEA last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of the meatballs.
That's how I feel about
Wait,
IKEA.
for the meatballs, actually.
Yeah, and also they have this Swedish food market, so I buy Swedish food items.
Lingonberry.
Yes.
Is
Love
IKEA
that.
big in Sweden as it is here?
Yeah.
Oh.
If not bigger.
Really?
There's many more of them per capita than you see here.
Not really. I think we only have a couple of stores because they require so much space. And that requires it wouldn't work in the smaller towns in Sweden because obviously not enough people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
is
it's
it the
definitely
same
big.
vibe? Like here, I feel like, and it could be wrong, this because it's my personal opinion, but when I think IKEA, I think bring my son to college, just get him some modern furniture, right? It's like a young sort of first apartment, first job, want to look like an adult, not too expensive. Build it yourself. It's like Legos.
Yeah.
But now I would never be like, hey, I'm looking for some more of to spice up the art decor in here. Let's go to IKEA.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't think that.
IKEA is
Am I wrong
definitely
on
not.
that? Maybe I'm wrong on
No,
that.
but I think
You
that's
can pick and choose items at IKEA,
Yeah.
and that's fine. You don't maybe want to go full on.
Yeah,
No,
I
like,
think this
Yeah.
apartment's very
Yeah.
IKEA. That
Well,
being said.
the design, those types of tables and everything.
Yeah.
That it's just
I'm pretty sure that's actually from IKEA, and the mirror, and the dresser.
I think especially living in a city, you're
I hate it.
you're better off using OfferUp or even Craigslist to find furniture that might have been pre-used but has more character to it, and then you can get the other little things here and there from an IKEA.
You know what I did when I lived in India? Renting all your stuff.
Yeah, I've heard about
Yeah.
that, but I don't get it.
So it really only makes sense if you're going to be somewhere for a year and then maybe or 6 months. But if you're planning
it
on
still
living there,
doesn't-
it doesn't add up.
It still doesn't add up.
For
Opposed to putting your stuff in storage.
right, yeah.
You
Well,
get-
if you don't have much stuff, let's say you're moving to England tomorrow,
Mm.
but you're only there for 6 months, and they're putting you in an unfurnished.
House.
Your company sucks. They're putting you in an unfurnished apartment, and figure it out. So it wouldn't necessarily make sense to buy all the stuff like washing machine, fridges. I'm talking about all the appliances. So we used it for that. We bought we got the water filtration system, our washer dryer, we got an air purifier, all and the fridge. Basically, we rented it all, and it worked out to $150 a month.
It's
Wasn't
way
bad.
too much.
Well, if you would buy a whole new fridge and then thousands of dollars.
True.
Yeah, it adds up.
Yeah, so it only makes sense. But yeah, if you're gonna be in a city for 3 years, then you're renting everything. That makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
Okay, I see where renting furniture can be.
Sometimes,
Yeah,
it depends on your
sometimes,
circumstance.
yeah.
Yeah, short term.
Okay, guys. I think that's 3 people on a couch for
Wow.
this time.
It literally is 3 people on a couch.
And
it's not rented.
And one on
in
a
a
chair.
chair.
It's not
One of-
rented.
it's not
or
rented.
From, is it from
It may or may not be from
I
IKEA.
believe it's from Craigslist. artist.
Ooh.
I don't know where he got it done. Maybe
Ooh,
Ashley.
There's no telling what's
Ashley
been done on this
furniture.
couch.
For real, I picked like pretzels out of it. I was like, this is better than semen, but didn't want pretzels.
Just
but-
dig a little
Yeah.
deeper.
Dang
He's
it,
like, no,
one
it's
time.
both. I had a pretzel.
Down.
Should we do an unraveling of the
Yeah,
couch episode?
we need
Or,
like a UV
Yeah.
light
Oh,
for this
Oh,
thing.
Have you done
oh.
that?
No.
It's scary.
Let's do it in
Don't.
this apartment next.
Oh, we should.
show.
I feel like there's no. Are there any fluids on? There's probably like stuff we've spilled on the couch.
Well, there's only one way to find out with the UV
Soup.
light.
Go for
Next
it.
episode.
Spilled soup.
I feel like when you see that in hotel rooms, it's just disgusting. I watched Gordon Ramsay had a spin-off show, Hotel Hell, and there was a old lady that ran a B&B in West Virginia, and they're like, there's fecal particles all over the carpet, and she's like, yeah, I had diarrhea this morning.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Okay, guys, where can people find you if they want to know more about your interior projects and that we didn't have
Yes.
time to talk about? But
I have early stages of my interior design career. I'm back in school to get my diploma, so I'm excited. But I have started a little Instagram page called at Cure CURE 8, the letter 8 and space Cure 8 space is my Instagram handle, and then so check me out for future projects.
Awesome.
definitely.
And the Dirty Girls, is that also on those platforms?
It's on
or-
YouTube.
No, I have so many platforms it will
Okay.
totally confuse you,
But those are
but
the main ones.
I love that we got to talk about like a full scope of all my wild work. But yeah, I'm more focused on interior design now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks so
Awesome.
much for coming on the show.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Jane, and thank you for listening and maybe watching, depending on what you did. Okay, see you next time. This is
See
3
ya.
People on a Couch.
Bye.
Bye.
I moved out here with a ton of student debt as well, and I try my best to budget, but then my like bougie neurotic mind is like, oh, I need organic basil. My mom's like, you have no money and you only will drink alkaline water. It's like, enough of this. Do you want to see a dick pic of a flaccid penis?
Of course not.
Here's my ball bag. Would you rather get a dick pic or would you rather get a heartfelt message of tailored to you and maybe it's of sexual nature, but it's him?
That one.
Would you rather get a dick pic or a heartfelt message?
Both.